Television in Israel refers to television broadcasting services in the State of Israel. Inaugurated on March 24, 1966. Initially, there was one state-owned channel, operated jointly by the Israel Broadcasting Authority and the Israeli Educational Television. In 1986, a second state-regulated channel was launched. This channel became a state-regulated commercial channel in 1993. An additional commercial channel was introduced in 2002, followed by the introduction of 3 commercial niche channels. An Israeli Russian-speaking channel. Color transmissions were introduced gradually around 1977 and 1979. Multi-channel cable television service became available to subscribers gradually since 1989. Although illegal cable TV stations were present in the big cities during the 1980s, satellite-based multi-channel service has been available since 2000. Almost 75% of the population is subscribed to pay TV systems which are provided either by a cable service called HOT or by a satellite service called YES. The Israel Broadcasting Authority was closed down in May 2017 and replaced by the Israeli Broadcasting Corporation as the operator of the state-owned TV channels. Channel 2 has split into 2 different channels in November 2017, giving each of the 2 current operating commercial companies a channel of its own, Keshet 12 and Reshet 13. Upon its establishment in May 1948, Israel had one radio station, run directly by the government, which was a continuation of the British Mandate's Hebrew radio station. The first governments, headed by David Ben-Gurion, did not favor the establishment of TV stations. Nevertheless, the Israeli government discussed the idea of using television as an instructional and educational tool in 1952 and 1955. In 1961, the Israeli government asked UNESCO to offer its opinion, which was in favor of using television for educational purposes. In the early 1960s, television broadcasts from neighboring Egypt, Lebanon, and Cyprus gradually became available to Israelis through TV sets which were placed in public places, like cafes. Since they were mainly in Arabic, these broadcasts were popular among Israeli Arabs. This raised the government's concern about anti-Israel propaganda that might be included in them. When Levi Eshkol assumed power as Prime Minister in June 1963, he started to promote the establishment of an Israeli TV channel. In 1964, he invited a team of experts from the European Broadcasting Union to submit their recommendations. In 1965, the Israeli Broadcasting Authority was established in order to distance the government from the everyday management and editorial decisions of the state-owned radio station. The government also passed a resolution stating that this new body will start TV broadcasts within 2 years. Television in Israel was finally introduced on the 24th of March 1966. Though not by the IBA, but rather by the Israeli Educational Television, which was funded by the Rothschild Foundation and acted as part of the Ministry of Education. The first transmissions were lessons to school students in various subjects, filmed in black and white, and intended to be received by 32 schools across the country. The Israeli Broadcasting Authority launched regular public transmissions on the 2nd of May 1968. On the occasion of Israeli Independence Day, Israeli television began operations when American and European stations were switching to full-scale color transmissions, but Israel state-controlled stations broadcast only in black and white. According to Anand Zuckerman, head of IBA's television department from 1973 to March 1979, Israeli Prime Minister Golda Meir described color television as artificial and unnecessary. Yair Lapid, son of Tommy Lapid, the IBA Director General from April 1979 to March 1984, claimed the IBA had the equipment for filming and broadcasting in color for nearly a decade before putting it into use, and the introduction of color transmissions was halted due to political pressure. Newscasts and other regular productions were filmed using black and white cameras. However, many special productions ordered from private Israeli studios were filmed and taped in color. Furthermore, Israeli television bought the rights to many American and British TV series and movies. The result was a mixture of color and black and white broadcasts, which encouraged traders to import color TV sets, especially as TV stations in neighboring Jordan and Egypt started color transmissions in 1974. The Israeli government considered the import of color televisions as a frivolous luxury that would increase social gaps. Therefore, the government ordered IBA and IETV to erase the color from color tape telecasts by erasing the burst phase signal. The damaged signal triggered the color killer mechanism installed in color TV sets to prevent the appearance of incidental color spots on the screen when black and white films are broadcast or when the reception is disturbed. This method was an